Hi, you guys. Welcome to Dog Hugs. The dog is barking, Atlas. Spider, attaboy. What a good dog you are. How are you guys doing, Robbie? How's Atlas?
We're doing well today.
He's happy.
He's apparently in a good mood.
He's a happy camper there.
I think Hazel just came and licked him on the foot. That's why.
Job, little buddy. Yeah. So for me, summertime is a time when I love to squeeze in some great relaxing reading.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, do we have a book for you today and an author for you today. We're going to introduce to you in a moment R.L. Maizes' new book, Other People's Pets. And Robbie, could you talk to the folks about the Supermodel of the Week contest while
I will.
All right. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, as Larry goes to tend to Spider, because I think Spider must have already gotten through all of his busy box, I want to talk about the Supermodel of the Week. And my daughter, Atlas's mom, every day goes into our Positively Wolf Facebook page, and she takes the photos that have been submitted, puts them into the Facebook stream so everybody can see them. I am Gigi. And comment on them, like them, share them, and then at the end of the week, she tallies up all of the counts on all of the dogs' photos who have been shared, and then we name a Supermodel of the Week. And that Supermodel dog gets to have his or her, or if there's a bunch of them, faces on top of our Facebook page for the entire week so that everybody can like, comment, ooh, and ah.
Yeah, we really hope you guys sign up and vote on other people's pets.
Yes. And send your pictures.
For Model of the Week contest. Oh, yeah. Post a picture. Super fun. It's really easy. There's no prizes, but unlimited.
Just the idea of having your adorable dog's face seen by our 2 million followers. I mean, who doesn't want that?
Exactly. And which includes Atlas.
Yes.
So speaking of other people's pets,
yes,
we're really excited to bring onto the show R.L. Maizes, whose new book comes out tomorrow. This is called Other People's Pets. Now, you're really going to enjoy this book because the hero of this book is a woman who is a veterinary student.
Ah.
And her father has gotten into big legal trouble. So she has a unique style of fundraising to help her father with his legal bills. She robs houses.
Oh my gosh.
And we're going to have to ask RL about this, but how the heck he made this character likable? And
that is a unique way to make money.
Yeah, I have no idea. She did a great job. You guys are really going to enjoy this book. Other People's Pets. So R.L. Maizes is the author of the short story collection, We Love Anderson Cooper. And this is her debut novel, Other People's Pets. It comes out tomorrow, July 14th. And her publisher and publicist were kind enough to share with me, oh, you okay, buddy? An advance copy of the book. So R.L. Maizes' stories have aired on National Public Radio and have appeared in Electric Literature's recommended reading. Her essays have been published in the New York Times, the Washington Post, and have aired on National Public Radio. Now, Maizes was born and raised in Queens, New York, and she now lives in Boulder County, Colorado, with her husband, Steve, and her Maizes muses. Arie, a cat who is dropped in the animal shelter's night box like an overdue library book, and Rosie, a dog who spent her first year homeless in South Dakota and thinks Colorado is downright balmy. So welcome to Dog Hugs, R.L. Maizes.
Hello.
Great to have you here.
So nice to be here.
Yeah, congratulations on other people's pets. I'm just super excited about this book and really, really glad to share this with our readers, and so touched that you're coming on our show here.
So glad you enjoyed it, and so glad to get to talk to your viewers.
Cool. So how did you do this? You made a crook a hero. You made me root for her. Come on.
Right.
That's not easy to do.
Well, I knew when I decided to write about burglars, because she's a burglar and her dad's a burglar. I knew when I decided I knew when I decided to write about burglars that I was going to have to figure out a way to also make readers want to follow her around for 300 pages and to root for her.
Yeah.
And so one of the things with Lala, the main character, she's a little easier.
By the way.
Thank you. She's a little easier because she's an animal empath. So she feels what animals feel. She's a veterinary student. You know, even though she's robbing houses, she's taking care of pets in every home she robs.
There's an animal in like every scene in the whole book. And
right.
Oh, I'm so glad that you gave away that little plot point. Yeah. There's an animal in every home she robs.
Right. So that's
the animal because she's an empath.
Yes. So she can help cure them, whatever ails them. So it's a little easier. And also she cares about her father. I mean, even the decision to do some of the things she does is because she loves and cares about her father. It might not be a decision you or I would make, but we understand it's coming from a place of love.
Yeah.
Now, a little harder with Zev, the father, right? But we root for him too. And yet, you know, he raised his daughter as a single father. He cares about her. We can tell that he cares about her. And so he did the best he could, even though, again, you know, he made a lot of mistakes, and those mistakes are in the book. And but I think you can root for him just because, again, he's trying, even though he's failing sometimes.
Yeah, it's really true. So I think you answered a question that I had. What did you know about, you know, what we're told as writers, write what you know, and then what you don't know, get to know. You know, write what you know, then know what you write.
Right.
So I wanted to ask, you know, what did you know? And it sounds, you know, did you know about robbers or did you know about animals?
Right. So I definitely knew more about animals than I knew about robbers. You know, I've had dogs. I have a dog now. I've had, you know, before that I had other dogs. I have a cat now. Before that I had other cats. And so I knew something about animals, although I will confess I'm not a veterinarian. You know, the protagonist is a fourth-year veterinary student. So she knows a lot more than I knew at the beginning of writing the book. And I did a lot of research in order to learn some of the veterinary medicine. I also had a veterinarian read the entire book when it was done to fact check it for me, to make sure I wasn't making mistakes. And she found a few places where she corrected me, and I was super happy about that. Burglary. Don't have a background in burglary, I'm very happy to say. But that was another thing that I researched.
Yeah, the work on the veterinary stuff was so real and so specific. It's like, wow, she's got game. So I'm really, happy to hear that you did such strong research. Okay, so then I got to ask you, what's the research you did to do with burglary? Because that also rings really true.
Okay, so there have been a lot of sociological and psychological studies of burglars where people have interviewed burglars. And so I read a lot of those studies. I will say, and I hate to almost give this away though, but I will say that these are the burglars who were caught. I probably don't know some of the secrets of the burglars who weren't caught.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So how about we go into a reading?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to read from the prologue.
Okay.
So I'm going to hold up the book. Oops, get it in the camera.
Yeah.
Other People's Pets. And I'm going to read from the prologue. And the thing I want to say about the prologue is that even though most of the book is about Lala as an adult, it follows her as an adult, the prologue is a scene, a very important scene in her childhood. And that's the setup. And now I'll read it. So it's the winter of 1999. 1 minute, Lala joins a flock of geese skating across the lake as they fly overhead. And the next, squeak crack, she plunges into darkness. Her snowsuit inhales icy water and clings to her, weighing her down and threatening to pull her under. Though she tries to tread water, her skates are too heavy. She opens her mouth to scream, and the lake rushes down her throat. Just when she thinks she'll drown, she sees her mother. "Mama," she gurgles. But the woman who calls herself mother turns and skates away. Frigid black water tugs at Lala's ankles, pours concrete into her muscles. She goes under. Still and cold, it's the loneliest place she's ever been. Too dark to see anything that might thrive there. Perfectly silent until the sharp bark of a dog cuts through the water, summoning her back. Maybe help has arrived. Remembering swim lessons her father gave her, Lala gathers her strength and frog kicks to the surface. 10 feet away, a black dog awaits her. She swims toward him, reaching the edge of the hole in the ice. Hands on the white mass, she pushes as hard as she can, but can't raise herself. She frog kicks again, desperate to stay above water. The dog howls. Urged on by the animal and no longer alone, she presses her arms against the surface of the ice, but lacks the strength to lift herself out. Exhausted, the cold stiffening her muscles, she waits to sink again. But this time, she doesn't go under. The arms of her jacket have frozen to the ice. That's all she remembers. Later, she learns a man and woman arrive to skate. They found the dog keeping watch, Lala unconscious, attached to the ice. On her cell phone, the woman called emergency services, who rescued Lala. The dog bounded into the woods before anyone could reward him. No one knew whose dog he was or where he had come from. It wasn't until Lala was being loaded into an ambulance that her mother returned. She had gone to get help, she said. From under warm covers the next morning, Lala hears a dove coo-coo to its mate. The bird's heart thrums with excitement. When her own pulse takes up the beat, Lala doesn't know what to make of it.
That is a really gripping opening.
Thank you.
I really have to compliment you on your writing throughout the book. Your voice, everything is just so engaging and so specific.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. In your journey as an author, what made you know that this one was a novel? You know, you've got this wonderful book of your short stories called We Love Anderson Cooper, and congratulations on that as well.
Thanks.
How did you know that you had a novel here?
You know, as I was writing it, it started to get complicated. This novel tells the story not only of Lala and what happens and the choices she makes and when her father gets arrested, but it's also the story of her father. And he has a whole separate character and plot arc.
Yeah.
I really wanted to tell his story too, because he really interested me as a character. And their stories start together, and then they take different twists and turns. And so it was going to take 300 pages in order to do justice to Lala's development and Zev's development throughout the book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you did it. And the way you weave those two main characters is really extraordinary. I mean, before the show, I'd asked you if you have a series here, and you mentioned that you're off onto another project and aren't even thinking that way, but they are great characters.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, as we said, I had thought about maybe there would be a sequel, but then when it came time to start a new project, something else that I'm obsessed about kind of grabbed hold of me. And I think when you write a novel, it has to be about something you're obsessed about. I mean, this book was, I'm really obsessed about animals. I'm obsessed about how animals feel. And so writing about an animal empath was just a great way to spend a few years of my life. And the next book has a different obsession that I won't talk about, but it has to be in order to last you, for your interest and your concern to last the period of time that it takes to write and, revise a novel.
Yeah, that's really true. I mean, I think a couple of my favorite quotes from writers are, I think it was Edna Ferber said, "There is no writing, there is only rewriting."
Yeah, beautiful. Exactly right.
And the author, Stephen King, says his own process is, he calls it the first draft. The door is closed. Nobody gets to know about this world or anything about it. Not his wife, not his editor.
Yeah, I think that's really, really a good way to work, because you want all the energy to go into the writing. You don't want to dissipate it telling people the story. You want to be writing the story.
Amen. Yeah, discovering.
Yeah, discovering the story, even better. Right.
Yeah. So talk about your journey as an author. I mean, it's, another author put it, and I can't remember who is said simply, "Oh, there's nothing to writing. All you do is sit down at a typewriter and open a vein."
Right. Right. Well, I've wanted to be an author since I was young. I probably wrote and at least told stories to cousins, and when I was 6 and 7 years old. But then, life happens, and I spent many years. I became a lawyer, and I spent many years working as a lawyer and not writing. But it was at the back of my mind that this was a dream that I really needed to pursue. So finally, at some point, I said, okay, I got to get serious about this. And I started writing every day. At the end of the workday, I'd come home, I'd take my dogs out, I'd eat a quick dinner, and then I'd write for an hour and a half, whatever energy I had left. And then I started writing short stories and got into writers' groups and took classes and took workshops and went to summer workshops. And it took me about 10 years to write the short story collection, because I was really, a lot of that was learning how to be a writer. And then about 3 years to write this novel.
Bravo. What kind of a lawyer were you?
I was a wills and trusts and real estate lawyer. And of course, having had a legal education really helped in this book, because there's crime, there's et cetera. And so it was helpful to have that background.
You make criminal code accessible.
That's fabulous. That's great.
Well, I can imagine being a wills and trust lawyer helped you get to insight to character and to really deep motivation about what would drive one to leave one's estate to this person or this entity. And
absolutely. When people are planning their estate, or even harder, when they've lost someone and then, they're distributing the estate, the people who are, the survivors are distributing the estate, you really do see a lot of character. Sometimes it's really positive character. You see the siblings really pulling together and supporting each other in their loss. And sometimes it's unfortunately the opposite, that because of their grief, they're fighting, But either way, both sides of that coin, you see character. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. So did you then go back to writer's school, or was it just simply through those stolen hours, if I may use the Robert?
Yeah. So I didn't get a lot of writers get MFAs, and I didn't get an MFA, but I did take a lot of classes. So I took classes at this wonderful writing school in Denver called Lighthouse Writers, and that was terrific. And then, there are summer workshops all around the country for writers where you go for 2 weeks and you take a class and you workshop each other's work, and you meet wonderful other writers who support you, and you trade work after that. And so I did study a lot, even though I didn't do a formal program of study.
Yeah. So because of your love of animals, I'm trying to get some insight into how you made the leap into making Lala an empath. I mean, not just an animal lover.
Right.
Empath, somebody who can embody, take in the body, the feelings of an
animal. So that's a little magical, right? I mean, most people, veterinarian or not, can't feel the feelings. I mean, she feels the pain of animals in her body. And most, obviously, people, that's a magical element. I love magical realism. I love when books have some magic in them. So when I was writing about her, and I discovered that she had that talent. It wasn't one of discovery, like you were saying before. I discovered that she had that talent. I was so excited. I thought, wow, how interesting is this going to be to see the world through the eyes of somebody who can feel what animals feel. Their joy, their suffering. As we know, animals do suffer, whether it's through neglect or, but also their excitement, when their person comes home or to go on a walk or whatever it is. So I just thought it was going to be such a wonderful just a wonderful exercise, both in empathy and in imagination. It thrilled me. And then the question was, could I pull it off? Could I do it in a way that the reader would believe it? And I hope I did.
Waiting for me. Did learning about empathy impact your relationship with your pets?
It did, in the sense that even those of us who don't have that magical skill, if we pay attention, we can understand a lot about our animals. I volunteered at shelters, and I'm sorry I can't remember the name of this book, but I read this wonderful book about reading dogs' body language. And it was so great, and it taught me, just to give one simple example, that if you had a dog who was fearful, they were in the shelter, and you wanted to love on them, but they were fearful, that one of the things you could do was get down on their level. Another thing you could do was not stare at them, look to the side. Another thing you could do was be patient, just patience, let them come to you, and of course treats and all of that. Wow. So I learned that there's a lot we can all do, even without magical empathy, to have empathy.
Yeah, it's true. Another trick is don't approach directly.
Okay.
It's like that's more threatening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So great advice there. Yeah. As you know, this show, we love to give shelter shout outs. And I know that shelters have been really important in your life. Who do you want to give a shout out to?
Okay. So I want to give two shout outs. So the first one is the Longmont Humane Society. And they're a wonderful shelter, and they helped us find Ari and Rosie. And I want to say that, especially Rosie.
Not just other people's pets, but RL's pets.
My pets. And with Rosie, we were having a little trouble adopting a dog. And the reason was that we had adopted a dog and she was aggressive toward our cat. And this is not Rosie, and we worked with a trainer and we tried to give them treats when they were near each other. And of course, at the beginning, separate them so they would just sniff each other. But no matter what we did, the dog really just wanted to chase and so it just wasn't a good fit. And when I called the director of the shelter where we had adopted this other dog, her name was Cowgirl. When I called the director of the shelter to tell her what was going on, I actually wasn't calling to say we wanted to bring Cowgirl back. I was saying, what else can we do? Because the idea of returning Cowgirl was just horrifying to us. We never wanted to return, a dog. And the director of the shelter said, you may not be the right home for her.
Wow.
I know. She said, you may not be the right home for her. And we still took another couple of days to try to kind of condition them to each other. And when we finally realized it was a bad situation for Cowgirl, she was behind a baby gate in a room, not able to go through the whole house. It was a terrible situation for the cat, who had stopped using her litter box. She was so terrorized and so afraid. And we did return Cowgirl, and I wept. I mean, it was so hard to return her. The next day, she was adopted by a home without a cat.
Brilliant.
So that's the background. So then when we were looking for a dog, that we had Ari, we really needed a dog that could get along with a cat. And the other thing was that my husband and I have a different approach to adopting a dog. And this was the first dog we adopted together, even though we both had dogs. And so my approach to adopting a dog is you go to the shelter and you scoop them all up and you bring them all home. That's what you do. But his approach to adopting a dog was that this is a long-term relationship. You'll see he's much smarter than me. This is a long-term relationship, and it has to be right. You have to make sure. And of course, at this point, we were super concerned about Ari, the cat. So we went to the shelter a couple of times, and we didn't find the dog that we both felt was the right dog for the house. And at one point we went, and a woman who worked there said, I've seen you guys here a few times. Can I help you? And we said, well, we want an adult dog. For one, we don't want a puppy. We want an adult dog. And we need a dog who will, get along with our cat. And she said, I think I have the dog for you. She said, go out to the outside penned area, wait, and I'm going to have someone bring the dog out. Well, they brought Rosie out, and we both fell in love. I don't know what she knew. And Rosie got along with Ari from the first moment. They kiss each other. They groom each other. They play with each other. They just love each other, which of course makes us so happy. So Longmont Humane Society has given us the most incredible gift by bringing these two animals into our life. Okay, that's Longmont. So can I do another one?
I would love it. And I know you folks would love that too, wouldn't you?
Okay, so the other one is the Boulder Humane Society. And the reason I want to give them a shout out is that, first of all, they're also a wonderful shelter, also close to us. They do such amazing things. They bring dogs from all over the Southwest, from shelters that are overcrowded, and they bring them in and do some training with them and adopt them out in our area. So that's one thing. Whenever there's a natural disaster, like a flood or a fire, they always open up their doors to any animals from the area that's affected that need homes.
Wow.
So they're amazing. But they also, I'm going to try to see if I can show this.
Okay. Here.
They also gave us, that's Steve, my husband, but they gave us our first 3 dogs, and that's Tilly, Molly, and Chance. And so let's see if I can do this. That's Chance, that's Molly, and that's Tilly. Mm-hmm. And Tilly and Chance were the models for Black and Blue, the dogs in my book.
Oh, and Black and Blue, first of all, great names, are also wonderful dog characters.
Thank you.
Oh, that's really wonderful. And RL, this show is about gratitude and blessing. Is there somebody in your life or in the world who you want to give some gratitude or extend a blessing to today?
Absolutely. You know, when we adopted Rosie, she'd been homeless the first year of her life. So she wasn't house trained, and she was also very afraid of other dogs. We worked with the most wonderful trainer named Gigi Moss. And we worked with her for, I don't know, somewhere between 6 months and a year. And she helped us teach Rosie to potty outside, which was important for Rosie to learn and very important for us. And she also got Rosie comfortable with other dogs, so much so that Rosie is the flirt of the neighborhood. I mean, she has doggy dates with other dogs. She can't go for a walk without seeing 10 of her friends and going crazy and waggling her butt and squealing. She's so happy and wrestling. And so Gigi Moss really helped Rosie lead a much fuller life, and for which we're eternally grateful.
Oh, beautiful. Well, R.L. Maizes, it is great to have you today on Dog Hugs. And again, congratulations on Other People's Pets. That comes out tomorrow, Tuesday.
Thank you.
If you folks get a chance to pick that up real soon.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, R.L. All right, that was a real treat. Robbie, you're probably going to enjoy reading that book yourself. I know you're such an avid reader that that'll be one that you'll enjoy.
It sounded really good.
And it's a lot of fun.
But, you know,
Yeah.
as I was busy monitoring comments and everything, what I really wondered was, it's like, I mean, obviously we know how she got the idea for it, but I am always curious as a novelist myself, how long like somebody worked on a book, or really what made her go, you know what, I'm going to write a book. I always like to know what takes people from, you know, I really should, to I am going to realize this dream. I always love knowing that.
Well, that's a great question. Let's see if we could bring RL back and he might be able to answer that question. Hey, RL, did you hear Robbie's question?
I did. So, you know, for a long time, I thought to myself, I can't write a novel. It's 200 pages. It's 80,000 words. How can I possibly create a story, multiple stories, characters that come off the page? I didn't have the confidence. But once the collection came out, I knew it was something I wanted to try to do.
Okay.
I didn't want to fail before I'd even tried. You know, I wanted to give myself the chance to take on that challenge. And I have to say, it was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Okay.
It was harder than being a lawyer. But it was also, because of that, the most satisfying thing. One of the most satisfying things I've ever done.
And because I work with people on time management and productivity and scheduling, did you set yourself a schedule to write every day, like a certain amount of time, a certain number of words? How did you make that project a reality?
6 days a week.
Okay.
5 of them all morning and an hour or 2 in the afternoon. And on Saturday, just morning. So I would take off Saturday afternoon and Sunday for family and just friends and have fun. But 5.5 days a week I worked on it.
Wow. Okay. That is dedication.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm always curious when we have authors on what their process is and what got them to write it. I love it.
Love your question, Robbie. Thank you so much, RL.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, it's truly inspiring. We've had some real fun comments here. I see my good friend Scott Kaiser in the audience here. That advice could make me a better husband too. Which was that? To become a burglar? Or
I wasn't sure if it was that or how to approach a fearful mammal, we'll say. Not dog. We'll say mammal.
Thank you. Yeah, I hopefully we'll get a chance to talk about it at our Wednesday night Zoom meeting with the guys. Oh, that's great. Let's see. Oh, bravo. Lovely story indeed from Kathy Ann. Great. And Kathy Ann also says, hi, everyone. Special shout out to Spider. Hey, Spider, you got a fan there, buddy. Yeah.
Oh, look at that comfy spot. And our fan Bailey is back.
Oh,
She's one of our very first commenters.
Where's Bailey? There she is. Hi, guys. Hi, Bailey. That's great. And again, Carol Ann, this book is a winner. Couldn't agree more. Great.
I'm adding it to my to be read pile.
Yes. Okay. So my shelter shout out today goes to, you've heard me talk about the Humane Society of Southern Arizona, and waiting to hear back from them how things are going down there. I know they're having just a rough time there in Tucson and Phoenix and all of Southern Arizona, which, by the way, is there's a little bit of story. No, I'm saying too much in other people's pets. And so Humane Society of Southern Arizona, really thinking about them today and sending blessings.
You know what, Larry? I'm going to go along with yours so that we can keep their name up there and people can become more aware.
Yeah, that's great. Hold a good thought, you guys. You know, even if you're not in Arizona and not in a position, say, to contribute, but just, hold a good thought for the good folks at Humane Society of Southern Arizona. Thank you very much for saying that. Who's on your mind? Who's on your heart today for some gratitude?
You know who's on my heart today is our groomer. She had groomed Henrietta for more than a decade. And, Henrietta passed about almost 3 weeks ago. And I got the most beautiful, like a sun catcher from her. It had all different color stones and beads that describe like what all the colors and the meaning of the stones. And it had little silver heart at the bottom that said forever in my heart. And it was just so amazing for Lindsay from Savvy Paws Grooming to have done that. And like I say, she had been with Henrietta more than a decade, probably about 13 years. We had followed her from place to place. So it was so amazing when I got that gift in the mail from her.
Oh,
that's why I'm grateful for today.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story. Well, I'm thinking of, besides Spider, there's not much room for anybody else. I'm actually thinking of my girlfriend, Jen, who is, like R.L. Maizes, also a reformed lawyer, and began a career. Really much blessings to her for changing her career, changing her life, and meeting me, and I'm meeting her. So love you, Jen. Tomorrow we have on the show Sarah Carson. Maybe you've seen her as a finalist in America's Got Talent. One of the great dog stunt performers. She performs with the Ferrandis and lots of other places. So you won't want to miss the show tomorrow with Sarah Carson.
Very cool.
All right. Well, you guys have a really great rest of the day and or evening. And we can't wait to see you again on Dog Hugs tomorrow. Thank you again, R.L. Maizes.